Welcome to Unfinished Business, the first mini-series on the FOGDOG exclusive. For junior athletes in Australia and for many junior athletes around the World Under 20 Championships are a major goal. I know that for myself, when I was a junior athlete in 2018, making the World Under 20 Championships was a huge goal of mine. My name is Adam Fogg, and in this mini-series I'm calling Unfinished Business. I'm going to show you my journey and my progression of how I went from being a younger junior athlete in Australia with seemingly no chance of making an international team right through to becoming one of Australia's top junior 1500 runners and attempting to run the World Junior qualifying time in the 1500 and qualify for the World Under 20 Championships in Finland in 2018. For those of you who saw the preview for the first episode of Unfinished Business in last week's episode, you'll have seen that we're going to start this journey at the 2016 UQ 1500 Classic. This is a really popular event for middle distance runners and it's run every year in November. Prior to running at the 2016 UQ 1500 Classic, I'd actually broken 4 minutes in the 1500 for the first time in July at a high school event, but unfortunately that race wasn't on film. I'd say for me, 2016 was the first year where I really thought I actually had a chance at making World Juniors in 2018. The qualifying time to actually make the World Under 20 Championships in the 1500 was 3:48.00 for my age group, and prior to 2016, this is a target that seemed kind of completely unachievable. I went from struggling to run a 4:20 1500 in 2014 to running 4:01 in 2015, and then as I mentioned, I ran 3:59.50 in July of 2016 as a 17-year-old, a year 12 in high school, which is equivalent to a senior in high school for the Americans. So as I said, I went into the UQ 1500 Classic with a PB of just under 4 minutes, but unfortunately after finding some form in July and breaking 4 minutes in the 1500, I went to England on a holiday with my dad and injured both of my feet. So I picked up an injury while I was in England that put me out for quite a few weeks. And this UQ 1500 Classic was my first, I would say, proper race back, where I was back fully fit and ready to race. So without further ado, let's get into it. 2016 UQ 1500 Classic.
Will Morris, Lachlan Fox, Jace Grant, Riley Medini, Patrick Leahy, Joel Lonsdale, Jack Adams and Adam Fogg. Bit of a bigger race this time, 16 competitors, Jaden, but what are you feeling?
I'm probably almost most excited about this race because I really couldn't pick a winner for you. It's a real mix of talent. There's some great 14, 15-year-olds. They're going to be looking to challenge some of the older boys. I have no idea who's going to take the pace at this stage. And I think a lot of the mid-range guys you have a look that have run around that 4:10 mark, this can be the breakthrough race.
Well, that's the thing I'm noticing. When we look at the archive of information we have here, none of them look like they've had that massive breakthrough yet this season. So I'm excited to see if some of them might find themselves
Sub-4 is the big barrier here. If the pace is on, that's what we're looking at. Shout out to our current record holder for this race, Jack Curran, 3:55. I don't think they'll challenge that tonight, but I'd love to see him have a crack.
Here we go now, and they're off without a doubt. As they come in.
Fogg ambling over from the outside mark. He'll work his way across to the lead. Young Fox having a look around on the inside. Lonsdale, Paddy Leahy. They're all starting to find their position. Will Morris and Adam Fogg, both training partners, so they could be looking to similar tactics like the Crouch girls to take up the race.
Absolutely right there. Adam Fogg, Jaden, such tall timber, and those big strides. If he can get those legs moving, strides for days, and he'll get him across. They're going to come onto the front straight now. Not but 5 metres between the first and last man in this race, and we see there, tucking in close behind, I believe that's Will Morris in the number 34.
Yeah, Will Morris on the inside. Jack Adams, young Fox from Churchy, number 33 there. It's this point of the race, the boys, you'll see, will play a lot more tactics than the girls. They will be fighting, scrambling for positions, not wanting to do any work.
Doesn't sound like teenage boys at all, Jaden.
Not at all, mate. Not at all.
And we see there it'll be Adam Fogg holding the lead there. The buggy really having to work hard here for the gentleman, keeping up with the pack.
104 through the first lap there. That's about what they'd be looking at.
And here we go. We've got a bit of a spread. And sitting in second, it'll be Jack Adams. Seat time, 4 minutes even. So the interesting thing is Adam Fogg, he is the fastest seat here. He's the only guy that's seated below 4 minutes, 3 minutes 59.50. And do you think he's holding that pace right now, Jay?
Yeah, looking at 104 is right around that 4 minute pace. If they can hold consistent there and close well, it's all in that last 300 to 200 metres. If they give themselves a chance early, I think we'll see 3 to 4 dip under the 4.
And I'm really impressed here with number 34, Will Morris. He's doing a fantastic job here to stay on the leader, Adam Fogg. Now, big difference in both of these athletes on paper, but it looks like Morris is actually really sticking it in there. 800 metres to go, and we saw in the last race, this is where McGowan started to say, right, this is how I'm playing it. What are you all going to do?
Well, the benefit for these boys, they train day in, day out with each other, day in, day out. So Morris knows what Fogg does, Fogg knows what Morris does. So they have the benefit of knowing where each other are in the race and what they're capable of doing. So they're both obviously in great shape right now. Ben Norton's done a great job with them. It'll be what can they do from here? Will the other boys be able to claw their way back onto him?
Absolutely. And we see now out on his own, it'll be Adam Fogg from the QE2 Track Club doing a fantastic job. We've got Will Morris sitting in second by about 5 metres.
Will Morris, more known for his steeplechase, but he's starting to show some great form over the 1500. Had a great run at the Queensland Secondary Schools Championships a couple of weeks ago.
And here we go. It's really going to get turned on now. 500 metres remaining. And we see Adam Fogg's in the lead. Will Morris sitting in second. Wearing the number 32 number. That'll be Jace Grant.
Yep.
Coming in.
Joel Lonsdale from the Gold Coast also on the outside. Lockie Fox, the Churchy runner, has great 800-metre speed. He's a Queensland 17-year-old 800-metre champion.
And that'll be the bell, 2:56 unofficial. Adam Fogg looking strong. He's really starting to move those long bits of timber he calls legs. 350 metres remaining. And we look at the rest of the pack here. He's really moving away from Will Morris, but it looks like the real hustle and bustle, it's going to be for third place.
Look, it's a bit of a gap job out front now. Fogg's really put them to the sword. I think we're going to see, hopefully, a PB. Lockie Fox making a move up into third. Will Morris holding on strong. Look for that pack to come at Will. Fox may be someone that'll close in and potentially fight for that second spot. But we've got Adam Fogg striding out in front. It's all about him and the clock right now. I think we're going to see a sub 4 minute run and potentially a PB.
He's having a fantastic run, passes the steeple, 150 left, quick check over the left shoulder, see where Will Morris is. He knows he's got the space, but that won't be good enough for the young man. He wants to get under 4 minutes. Here we go.
Crush through the 4 minute barrier here. All he has to do is stay strong, stay tall, finish through the line. I think we're going to see around a 3:57.58 mark.
He's striding away, go past the pen where the senior boys are waiting to go. And he'll go over 3:58 unofficial. It's a good race
Morris,
here.
Massive PB, 4:02. That's 5 seconds off his mark, and it holds off the pack for second place.
Absolutely. And isn't that an interesting turn of events?
Alright, so I was pretty happy with how that one turned out. It was nice to get the win and break 4 minutes in the 1500 for the second time. I just missed out on a PB, so I ran 3:59.59 and my PB at the time was 3:59.50. Funnily enough, I remember thinking as I crossed the line in that race that I'd actually broken my PB by quite a bit and run 3:57 or 3:58 because the clock just on the other side of the finish line was definitely slightly laggy. But after having a good few weeks on the bike, after injuring both of my tendons in my ankles in England a few weeks earlier, I was pretty happy to be back under 4 minutes in the 1500 again. So following the UQ 1500 Classic, I had actually qualified to run in December in Canberra at the All Schools Nationals in the 3K. I actually missed out on qualifying for All Schools in the 1500 after not running too well at States in October. But as a little tune-up race before heading down to Canberra for the National 3K, I ran another 1500 and actually ran a PB of 3:59.11. And then I went down to Canberra and ran an 8:41.22 3K, which was a huge PB for me at the time. But I always knew that if I was ever going to have a crack at World Juniors in 2018, it would definitely be in the 1500. So I was really happy to come fourth at Nationals in the 3K, and I was really happy with my new PB. But after this National 3K race, my focus turned back to the 1500, and I set my sights on the under 20 Nationals that were going to be in Sydney in March 2017. So in January of 2017, I got into some really good 1500 shape, and I actually ran a PB of 354.25, which was a PB down from 359.11. I'm not 100% sure of what the under 20 national qualifying times were for Sydney 2017, but I think for the 1500 it was 358. So running this 354, a 5-second PB, qualified me automatically for Sydney Nationals, but I had another race to get out of the way before running at Nationals, which was the Queensland under 20 1500 metre final. So without further ado, this is the 2017 Queensland under 20 1500 final. The top 3 people in this race automatically qualify for Nationals, regardless of whether or not they've got the time. So even though I'd already got my 354, my national qualifying time, I went into this race really wanting to have a good one before running at Nationals. Alright, so we are currently 300 into the 1500. I don't know why, but the recording only actually started at this point of the race. So I'm in the lead there in the white singlet. I didn't actually go into this one with a plan to lead, but fairly early on I knew that no one wanted to take it. We went quite slowly through that first 300. I think we went through in about 51, and yeah, no one wanted to take up the pace, so I moved to the front and took it on. I went through 800 there in about 2:13, so I picked up the pace a bit and put a bit of a gap on the field. Still nothing crazy fast, but I knew that I kind of had to put in a bit of work and really kind of try and put a gap on the field if I wanted to stay at the front and hold that lead. We're coming into the home straight now. I've still got a bit of a gap on the field, but I was pretty tired by this point. I knew that I was kind of being chased down a bit, so I did all I could to make the home straight quick and ended up hanging on for the win. Again, really happy with how this race turned out. Not super fast. I ran a 4:03 1500 on that day, but I was happy to get the win, and obviously I had to do all the work for that one. I led from start to finish, and there were actually some really good runners in that race as well. Following this, I think I had about a month to prepare for the 2017 Under 20 Nationals, where I was going to be focusing on the 1500. So to quickly recap the journey so far, I ran a 3:59.59 at the 2016 UQ 1500 Classic in November of 2016, and then I lowered my 1500 PB to 3:54.25 in January 2017, and the race you've just seen I won in 4:03 to become the Queensland Under 20 champion in the 1500 heading into Nationals in 2017.
Next week on a FOGDOG exclusive.
Welcome back to another bonus episode of the FOGDOG exclusive.
FOGDOG is back with another bonus episode, and rumor has it he is lining up in this bonus episode for a storming fast 10k time trial. This is a bonus episode you do not want to miss, so be there to see it premiere live on Monday, May 11th, 7 p.m. Central Time.
Beautiful.
And then FOGDOG is back on Thursday night for episode 2 of Unfinished Business. Episode 2 of Unfinished Business sees FOGDOG put his training to the test in Sydney at the 2017 Under 20 National 1500 Final. FOGDOG then takes you through his return home to Brisbane for the 2018 Open State 1500 Final. See all of this and more next Thursday, May 14, 7 p.m. Central Time.
Only on the FOGDOG exclusive.